Tyler Motte of the Vancouver Canucks was living his childhood dream, yet was struggling with something so much bigger.
Being so focused on my career and playing hockey and so driven in that way, I kind of let the other side of it slip. I lost that drive towards, my goals in life, and not just as a hockey player, but as a person. Like any kid growing up, you want to play the NHL, you want to reach that goal, and I'm lucky enough to have accomplished that. And I was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in the 4th round. Made the team out of camp, got sent down about halfway through, and you have a bit of a feeling that your dream and your goal has kind of been taken away from you. In the back of your mind, you're wondering if you'll ever get back. It's hard. It's a grind, physically and mentally. You continue to push yourself, but there's a bit of doubt at times to, will you get the next opportunity? I got a phone call that I had been traded. My only year in Columbus, I was again traded to Vancouver.
He started to make comments along the lines of how he wasn't super motivated by a lot of things. He wasn't feeling excitement about things that previously excited him. And he was really irritable. And I didn't quite understand it or really know why until he made one comment that said, "I don't really feel much of anything right now." And it kind of all hit me that maybe this was something bigger than what I had thought it was, and maybe it was something that was troubling him for a long time.
It was a combination of things. The wear and tear physically and mentally of just pushing yourself and being so focused on the goal of playing in the NHL. And sometimes you don't take care of the things you need to, which for me was my mental well-being. I felt like I was in a different place, a low energy, little mood, if at all, and I think that wears you down.
When you feel rejected by a certain group of people, that will have an impact on how you feel about yourself.
So it's normal life for all of us to get rejected from time to time in your relationship, at work when you're trying to perform and it doesn't go so well. It's really something we all deal with. It's not unusual. It can really get you down and really hurt a lot. It can even lead you into being really depressed.
Have a look.
I noticed that I would kind of suppress a lot of my feelings and thoughts and just try and go right back to hockey or go right back to focusing on something, and I didn't deal with a lot of things.
Many men have learned to be quiet about it, to suffer in silence, and that it often, the message they give themselves is that in order to be strong, in order to be a real man, I shouldn't have mental illness, I shouldn't be sad, and they keep it to themselves. They can separate themselves from their friends, from their families, their partners, and their children, and become more and more isolated and alone in their experience.
It was several months, years, actually. It was just a gradual adjustment to him accepting going to see help.
I remember going into my first meeting, and shortly thereafter I was officially diagnosed with anxiety and depression. It was hard. Maybe it put me a step back rather than a step forward at first, but once I took the time to understand and realize that it's a diagnosis, it's an illness. It's just as much an injury as anything else, although it's sometimes hard to see. Once I got over that hurdle, I think, there's a bit of no looking back. There's a bit of the mindset of you're gonna take this head on just like you have, other obstacles in your life. I'm not a big reader, never have been, but I found it's something that does help. It allows my mind to be doing something else. I like to learn things, so it helps in that way too. It's just some mental stimulation. It's kind of a small victory for me. Getting through a couple pages or a couple chapters of a book is a win, and sometimes on certain days that's all you need. You need a small victory, and that can kind of propel you forward in the right way.
It can be a magazine, it can be a newspaper. Reading is an easy thing to do. It's really good for your mental health and nervous system. Just take a few minutes a day. It calms everything down, it relaxes your nervous system, and it really helps you focus on something.
One of the things I was curious about was the active recovery piece. We talked a little bit about including a little bit of mindfulness in that.
All athletes are human beings, and he's targeted the human as an improvement area. So I think that's what's helped him. He's just learning to ask questions, find out what works better for him. When you seek support and help, you learn to develop self-awareness, you learn skills within that, and you're working on skills and developing methods for managing some of the challenges.
Once I started seeking help and being more open and accepting to my mental illness, I found that my game and my performance increased as well. I was able to turn my focus and my drive and energy back to hockey and my career and other things in life too. Most of the times on day off, I'll just try and go out for a walk, whether it's just around town for a couple blocks or get out of the city, or when I'm back home, just find an area where it's quiet. You get to take in the noises, sounds, sights around you, and just embrace it. You kind of get to separate yourself a little bit from your day-to-day life, and you get to kind of enjoy some of the little things that I don't think we appreciate enough.
There's so many new recent studies really showing us, surprisingly, that even the smells in nature, maybe something in the air, the way the visuals affect our brain are really engaging brain chemicals to actually help calm your nervous system and reduce some of the stresses throughout the entire body. So I'd encourage anyone to go for a daily walk. It's so easy to do, especially in times like these.
Right.
He's become more communicative, but it's a process. It's not one getting help and then you're done. It's a constant work in progress throughout your whole life, and it's so impressive to me that he had come so far to acknowledge, to accept it, and to work at it, and then to want to make an impact in others. It's just demonstrative of how incredible of a person he is that I already knew, but it's him another way that he shows those characteristics.
I love you. Good seeing you. Bye.
Bye.
Looking back to where I was and where I am and appreciating the person I've become, it's hard to do. You never like to think of yourself in that way, although for a while that was me. To be here today as the same person but in a different space is awesome. I'm proud of myself, which I don't say enough either, but yeah, I'm happy. And it's not every day do I get to say that to myself, but I have come a long way, and it hasn't been easy. And for those of you out there that are in a tough spot, it gets better. It really does, and I hope everyone gets to find that space.